Megan and I just returned from an incredible 2-week trip to the North Island of New Zealand, and we had a blast experiencing the very best things to do here, and I want to share them with you. This is my New Zealand North Island Top 10. Up first, and most importantly, New Zealand is full of world-class beaches, and there's no better place to experience these beaches than the Coromandel Peninsula, located in the northeast. The most iconic location here is Te Whanganui-a-Hei, or Cathedral Cove, a whitewashed sandstone archway that is just breathtaking. Now, you have the option of walking to the cove, but we decided to rent kayaks from Hahei Beach and paddle through this beautiful marine reserve and land at Cathedral Cove. This was a fun way to experience the shoreline and just get a different vantage point. But if you're up for it, I'd recommend trying to grab sunrise here and get it a little more to yourself and just less crowded. Another cool adventure is to hike to New Chums Beach Lookout, where you overlook Wangapua Beach and New Chums Beach. Fair warning though, after a stream crossing, taking an unmarked trail up the coast, you then have to scramble up this sketchy trail ascending 200 feet into the air, and if you do that, you are rewarded with these incredible coastline views. Up next, we are leaving the beaches behind and heading inland to experience a well-known natural phenomenon prevalent on the North Island. The center of the North Island sits on the boundary of two tectonic plates, which results in a ton of geothermal activity. And to experience the spectacle, we visited the geothermal wonderland outside of Rotorua. Now, it was pretty busy when we were there, but we did get to see some really cool features. Colored craters, bubbling mud pits, a geyser, some toxic looking pools, and the famous champagne pool. Now, a fun byproduct of this area are the mini natural hot pools that you can go soak in. We went to Waikite Valley hot pools to soak at the end of a long day, but there are just so many offerings here, and you have to go at least once. At least that's what we were told. You could do like a whole hot pool circuit here, and it can be pretty fun if you're good at relaxing. And I'll be honest, I don't know what to do. I think you're just supposed to sit here.
Yeah, and relax.
Next up was the surprise of our trip and my favorite water experience. Whitewater rafting the Kaituna River, guided by river rats out of Rotorua. This adventure is just a great mix between adrenaline, experience, and nature. That being said, there is a defining feature here on Kaituna River, the creme de la creme, and what you pay the big bucks for, a Class 5 whitewater rapid known as Tutia Falls. But let's be real, this is not a rapid, this is a freaking waterfall, and it is the largest commercially rafted waterfall in the world. And for just $75, you get to enjoy a 45-minute whitewater rafting trip through this incredible slot canyon over some insane rapids. This is a must-do on the North Island, and maybe do it twice, because I just don't think whitewater rafting gets any better than this. The river is unreal, and river rats over-deliver.
Oh, not so bad! That was sick! Oh my goodness.
After that adrenaline dump, let's go calm down at the most iconic and middle-earthy place on the whole island. Hobbiton. This is the actual movie set location from the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit film trilogies, portraying the village of Hobbiton in the West Farthing of the Shire. Like in the movies, this is a magical, unique, and endlessly happy village. Even if you don't care about the Lord of the Rings movies or just a casual watcher like you've seen them once, you will still thoroughly enjoy this, and it is absolutely worth the price of admission.
Okay, this is easily my favorite thing so far in New Zealand. Hobbit hole. You can see the green dragon down there. You can actually see the bridge, Bag End's up here. You have to do this. Absolutely worth the money. And the tour is so cool, the behind the scenes. Love it.
The $75 tour buys you transportation from their headquarters to the set and back again, a 2-hour tour from an enthusiastic guide. As of 2023, you can now walk through a fully furnished 83% human-sized hobbit hole of the Proudfoot family. An alcoholic beverage by South Farthing Brewing served at the Green Dragon Inn at the end of the tour, and one epic experience walking through Middle-earth. And while Lord of the Rings culture is important to some, New Zealand culture is important to all. So when you come to New Zealand, I recommend taking part in a Maori cultural ceremony. The Maori are the original inhabitants, or indigenous people, of New Zealand, or Aotearoa. And to this day, the culture is an integral part of the country's identity, largely due to the Treaty of Waitangi, which recognizes their status as the indigenous people of the land. To best experience this and get up to speed on Maori history, Mitai Maori Village is a great place to start. So is visiting the Waitangi Treaty grounds, but we'll touch on that later in the video. We did the dinner experience at Mitai Maori Village, and it was fully immersive, extremely well done, and very informative. We got served really good dinner and dessert. We had an open discussion and a Q&A session with our guide.
It's 36,000, the biggest high recorded in this area.
We witnessed a canoe chant.
To end the night, after asking all the questions that we wanted to ask about Maori culture, we took a walk through the forest and saw some glowworms, which was pretty cool.
I mean, it was just worth the price, and more than anything, gave us awareness. At this next stop, I became quite aware of something entirely different. Gravity. I also learned that while bungee jumping originated from a ritual called land diving practiced in Vanuatu, which is freaking crazy, it was popularized here by a New Zealand man named A.J. Hackett. And so, when in Rome, or rather New Zealand, you gotta bungee jump, or at least consider it.
And it's longer lasting.
Made me a little nervous.
So right in Taupo, looking out over the incredible Waikato River, I freaked out, got harnessed up, freaked out some more, and effectively walked the plank, which is 150 feet above the water and uber scary looking. And even though I stalled...
Okay, hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you down, okay?
Okay, hold on.
You got this, gonna go fast, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1,
Let's
bang!
bungee! Ah! Oh my goodness!
I did it. This was pure adrenaline, pure terror, and pure epicness. And I know this isn't for everyone, but I have to throw it out there. You will not regret it.
Oh my, that was crazy.
If that's too crazy for you, a fun alternative that is still a nice thrill is just right around the corner from the bungee place, jet boating Hookah Falls. This was a fun experience of zipping up and down the river, throwing 360s, going super fast, seeing some animals, and getting up close and personal to the very powerful Hookah Falls. This 30-minute experience literally flew by, and it was quite fun. And another thing that is super fun for me is seeing you hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it's easy, but it really helps me and the channel out. So go ahead, click it. And let's get back to the video. And let's take a break from the adrenaline and head to Waiheke Island for some relaxation. Waiheke Island is a 45-minute ferry ride from Auckland, and it is known for being a wine-centric island. It is full of great winemakers, great vineyards, and great vibes. Megan and I did a day trip out here, and it was a perfect trip. Although it did feel like we were a little bit rushed to cram it all in a day, so if you really like wine and relaxing, this might be a place that you'd want to come and spend a few days. We bought a ferry bus combo pass, which bought us our ferry tickets, which, by the way, get to the Auckland port early to avoid this mess. And it also bought us an all-day bus ticket that allowed us to jump on and off these buses that looped around the island, stopping at all the major activity points. While we were on Waiheke, we did an olive oil tasting at All Press, which was really fun.
You get a little bit of kind of green apple kind of vibe happening with this one.
We visited so many beaches that I lost count, and same with the wineries, but Mud Brick Vineyard might be the most beautiful winery we've ever seen. Regardless of your wine interests, Waiheke Island is for everyone and absolutely worth a visit. Let's move on to something that is the opposite of relaxing at Waiheke, hiking the Tongariro Crossing. If you're planning a trip to the North Island of New Zealand, chances are you've heard of the Tongariro Alpine Crossing. This is the most famous hike on the North Island, and here's my review. It is intense, it's long, weather can get crazy, there's no cell service, make good decisions. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is a 13-mile long hike that feels every bit of it. The first 5 miles is all elevation gain, most of it occurring during the Devil Steps. Joy. You then pass the volcano known as Mount Doom from Lord of the Rings, incredible, and if you have our weather, you'll be greeted by a pretty serious windstorm at the saddles and summit. Lovely. But at the summit, there are some pretty cool aqua green pools to look at, but don't touch. Megan and I had lunch here at the summit, and then after the summit, it's just an 8-mile downhill gauntlet that is just brutal, just sort of 4 hours of pain. The most important tip here is that the hike is a point A to point B hike, so the strategy is to park your car at the end of the hike, catch a shuttle to the beginning of the hike, then hike your way back to your car.
Tongariro Crossing is not for the faint of heart. And I realized that I actually might be the faint of heart. I don't think I'm gonna do that again, but glad to conquer it. Megan's a trooper. Moving on.
Let's leave the harsh volcanic environment of Tongariro behind as we head up to the vibrant Bay of Islands. This is an area in the northwest that encompasses more than 140 subtropical islands and has a large Maori fingerprint here due to the Waitangi Treaty Grounds and the surrounding history. I had seen pictures of this area prior to Megan and I coming here, and I never would have guessed that this was New Zealand. I don't know, it just is a wild shoreline full of unique landscapes, and I mean just subtropical islands, it just feels weird. To get here, it is a decent trek from Auckland, but if you have the time, you should do it, because it definitely isn't as touristy as some of the other places, and in fact, it felt pretty uninhabited, and the towns that we went to were just a different vibe, just everything was a little slower here. We drove as much as we could and saw what we could from the land, but I feel like an island trip is recommended. Next up is a unique excursion to most people. Explore a glowworm cave. Glowworms are really popular here, and there are many caves to go see these weird little creatures, but the Waitomo Caves is the most well-known place on the island to see them. And we actually found out that a nearby offering is a better experience, and that is a tour with Spellbound glowworms. Spellbound is a family-run operation, far less commercial than Waitomo, and a better experience. Regardless of where you see glowworms, you have to make sure that when you come here, you make some time to see these weird little bugs. And that is the end of my New Zealand North Island top 10. Please let me know in the comments what your favorite thing to do in New Zealand is, what we should do on the South Island. Click the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want more. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.